As I'm just waking up, I'm just kind of reminiscing and thinking like how great it is just to have like a great wife for real. I feel like, women can be so supportive in a lot of ways. And I don't think, if you are a wife or seeking to be a wife, I think it's important to just help to inspire the person and motivate the person that you are with. And so, whether you are a wife or a husband, I think back to myself how many failed ventures that I have jumped in and, it didn't go well. Like I've had ventures that I've jumped in and they've been good, but I've also had ventures that I've jumped in and, they just haven't taken off in the way that I thought they would. And so, as I think back to my biggest supporter, which is my wife, there's times to where, I've started something and it just didn't go as planned. And, kind of figuratively, I've, fell down and got my clothes dirty and, messed myself up. And, I've been scraped across the ground and stuff, right? But the person who is there to help in every situation without, you know, really being judgmental has been my wife. So, you know, um, I know people who also who have had wives and their wives are, just not as supportive. But like I said, as I feel like I'm beat down and pressed down and scraped through the mud, the person who is there to, just encourage me is my wife. Like she's the one who would, when those clothes get dirty, when those things mess up, she's there to pick me up and help wash the clothes up and say, hey, Damien, like, try it again. Like, things didn't go as planned, and we understand that, but, just try something different, try something else. And I think that goes a long way because, it makes me willing to be the type of person that will do anything for my wife. And, most of what I do is for my wife and, just for my family and for myself as well, but, I'm doing things to try to make our family better, to make our living better, to make things around us better. So if you understand how important it is to have somebody that is supportive in your corner, I think that you have to be able to run with that. And so, for any of us who are looking to do anything, especially for people who are creative, because I think sometimes time switches, things switch, and, we just don't have the same passion about things, or we can't see things all the way. Um, I think it goes a long way to have somebody who is supportive behind you, who can just spur you on at them times where you feel like giving up. And so my wife has been that, nothing short of amazing for me. And, just being 100, I done messed a lot of things up. I've done a lot of things wrong. I've miscalculated, misjudged. But, I feel like as long as I have my wife there with me, um, I can do anything for real. I can push through. And I think, sometimes that's all the confirmation you need. The whole world can be against you. And sometimes you just have to know what it is that you are going to do and just push through with it. And so, you know, um, and I'm not saying that, everybody needs a wife in order to push through. But if you are the wife, if you are the spouse, if you are the person who's standing next to somebody else, one of the things that you can do is just continue to be supportive because there's a whole world and a bunch of people who don't want to see us successful, don't want to see us do well. But if you can have a spouse that is willing to walk with you, whether your plan succeeds or whether your plan doesn't succeed, I think that speaks volumes. And so, um, yeah, as you navigate through life, just understand that there's so much power in two people standing together and trying to accomplish something. the worst thing to do is have somebody who is always negative. Every time you mess up, they always rubbing it in your face and stuff. I think that's one of the harder things to continue to be motivated. And the biggest thing is that it will motivate you not to want to do anything for the person that is always being negative towards you. So, yeah, for those of you who are married or, in relationships with people, especially if you are in a relationship with a creative type of person, just bear with them and, just continue to seek and be as supportive as you can. Sometimes you may even need to come along to be able to show them certain areas and certain ways in which things will work, because sometimes a creative's mind only works in so many different ways, and there's not a bunch of different things that you can do to change the fact that you have the type of mindset that you have, but you also need people to be able to come alongside of you and just join in with some of the things that you are doing. So, yeah, I hope this is encouraging. I hope, I know that there's so many people who have tried things, and think about even people who are successful, right? Who have hit that thing of success or hit that area of success in their lives. Understand that there's a lot of things that they probably messed up pretty bad. But as long as you continue to shoot and continue to try for correcting those mistakes, and that you continue to press on, things will kind of smooth out over time. So just understand that, like, nobody hits on the first time. Sometimes people don't even hit on the 10th time. So think about Thomas Edison and stuff, and the guy who created the light bulbs. So they said he failed 10,000 times before he actually got it right. And so when you think about it, they asked him, why didn't you give up or something like this, like during those times? And, especially being discouraged that, you've tried 10,000 different ways and it won't work. That's one of the things that he said. I didn't fail. I just found 10,000 ways that it wouldn't work. And so, here we are with light bulbs and different things because of somebody who kind of persevered. And so that should be a lesson to all of us, is to, just stick through with it. But like I said, for any of us who are in this thing, we have enough pressure on ourselves trying to make things happen. We don't need, like, other people to be negative around us as well. So, if you are the spouse who is always feeling like, here's my other half that, continues to try stuff and mess stuff up, like, just be patient and then just see where you can help in the equation as well. But, one of the biggest things is just to continue to be supportive. And yeah, and then even for the creative, try to only, like, sometimes you have to take crazy chances that people don't understand. But, try to make sure that you have some things established, and then everything else that you do out here is just good to go. So, yeah, I don't know. I just hope this is beneficial. I hope that, you kind of understand, and I hope that you can gain something from this. But, it's just, for me, it's amazing to be able to have a wife who has never looked down on the things that I've, just kind of presented and the things that I've done. And regardless of my failures, she continues to just cheer me on and, like, hey, man, let's try the next thing. I understand that didn't work. Let's move on and try something different. And so even times that I don't want to continue to jump in because of my fear of messing things up, she's always saying, hey, let's try something else. And so I think that's major. I don't take it for granted, and you shouldn't either. So, yeah, but yeah, I hope this helps. And until the next video, I'm Damien, and I'm out.